Hi, I'm Saroja Coelho, host of the Saturday afternoon call-in show, Just Asking.
And I'm Ian Hannamansing, host of the Sunday afternoon call-in show, Cross Country Checkup.
Whether it's world events
or what's happening in your backyard,
every weekend we connect Canada live.
That's Just Asking with Saroja Coelho, Saturday afternoons at 4 Eastern.
And Cross Country Checkup with Ian Hannamansing, Sunday afternoons at 4 Eastern on CBC Radio 1.
You know the feeling of finding a really good podcast? Or the feeling of someone always being there, like your favorite radio show? Stream CBC Podcasts, CBC Music, and CBC Radio anytime, anywhere. Download
This is CBC News. Good afternoon, I'm Josh Crabb in Winnipeg. At noon, it's +6 with light drizzle downtown. It's mainly sunny and 6 in Brandon, mainly sunny and 1 in Thompson. Premier Wab Kinew is adding to and shuffling his cabinet after a little more than a year in office. 3 new cabinet ministers have been added, including MLA for Maples, Mintu Sandhu as Minister of Public Service Delivery. Nellie Kennedy, the MLA for Assiniboia, will be Minister of Sport, Culture, Heritage, and Tourism. And Kinew added a new department.
And now I introduce to you the Honorable Mike Moroz, Minister of Innovation and New Technology.
Mike Moroz is the MLA for River Heights. The new department's objective is to grow this province's tech industry and support business.
I, Mike Moroz, do solemnly affirm that I will duly, faithfully, and to the best of my knowledge and ability, perform and fulfill the duties and requirements of the Office of Minister of Innovation and New Technology.
Kinew also adjusted a few of the other portfolios, including Ian Bushy, who takes on natural resources and Indigenous futures. Police are warning Winnipeggers about a spike in random street robberies. They say thieves are more likely to target individuals who are distracted and unaware of their surroundings. Police advise people to be alert when they are out walking. They recommend not using earbuds. If you must wear them, police suggest keeping the volume low enough so you can hear the sounds around you. The union representing about 1,200 Montreal dock workers plan to launch a legal challenge to Ottawa's decision to send their labor dispute to binding arbitration. The union believes the move violates their charter right to collective bargaining. To British Columbia, health officials are doing contact tracing for Canada's first presumptive human case of bird flu. So far, they have not identified any sick close contacts of the teen. The teen is in hospital experiencing acute respiratory distress. Dr. Brian Conway is medical director of the Vancouver Infectious Diseases Centre.
At this point, I would have absolutely no concern for anyone who is not in direct contact with infected animals.
The World Health Organization says there is no evidence that bird flu can be transmitted from human to human. President Joe Biden welcomed his successor to the White House. Biden and President-elect Donald Trump exchanging pleasantries before both committed to a smooth transition of power. The CBC's Katie Simpson has more from Washington.
Well, Mr. President-elect Donald.
President Joe Biden extended his hand to President-elect Donald Trump, offering him congratulations as the pair sat in front of a roaring fire in the Oval Office, with Biden committing to a peaceful transfer of power.
Do everything we can to make sure you're accommodated, what you need.
The meeting is a chance for the outgoing and incoming teams to sort out the White House transition, something Trump refused after losing in 2020.
Politics is tough, and it's in many cases not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate very much a transition that's so smooth. It'll be as smooth as it can get.
Republicans are on track to control the White House, the Senate, and likely the House, meaning there will be little resistance to implementing Trump's sweeping agenda when he returns to the White House in January. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Washington.
Fans of The Boss from all around the world are in Winnipeg today. For the past few days, the die-hard Bruce Springsteen fans from as far away as Australia, Spain, and Brazil have been lining up for what they call roll call in front of the Canada Life Centre. Between 50 and 60 people have tickets in the pit in the front of the stage, and they get together a few times a day to ensure their place in line. Virlo Amaral is from Sao Paulo, Brazil. He says Springsteen hasn't played in Brazil in his lifetime, so he travels the world to see him.
And we have never been in Canada before. I went to Montreal concert and then Winnipeg. And it's a beautiful country. As she said, it's always an opportunity to meet new people, meet new places. We love Springsteen, but it's always an excuse to do all those things.
Tonight's concert is Springsteen's first in Winnipeg. Showtime is 7:30. And finally,
burden from need. Do and then don't, and without would have swallowed the river. I survived and feel survival in my arms. What's brought over water and then hung overhead.
That is Chiwemwe Undi reading from her book of poetry, Scientific Marvel, on CBC Radio's Ideas. The Winnipeg poet has just been named one of this year's winners of the Governor General's Literary Awards. The awards celebrate remarkable works published in Canada. Another Winnipeg winner, Nigon Sinclair, wins in nonfiction for Winnipeg, Visions of Canada from an Indigenous Centre. Winners get $25,000. You can see the complete list of winners on our website. That is CBC News from Winnipeg. Your next local news is at 12:30. Taking a quick look at weather in Winnipeg today. Things expected to clear up with a mix of sun and cloud and a high of 8. In Brandon, sunny and a high of 8. And in Thompson, mainly sunny and a high of +1 expected.
Good afternoon and welcome to Radio Noon. I'm Laurie Hook-Stratton. Looking outside, it's a gray kind of day. Calm, cool and collected, you might say. Not as cool as it's supposed to be, but maybe cool enough to make you think of getting away somewhere. Are you outward bound this winter, or are you just staying home? On our call-in today, we want to know your plans, if you have any, whether you're a snowbird, a vacationer, or a family hoping for a winter getaway. We want to hear about your travel triumphs and disasters, and hear your comments and concerns, and whether the new Trump presidency is affecting your thinking in any way. Give us a call, 204-780-0893. And also, Crown Royal whiskey may be drinkable, but it's also collectible, and not just those purple velvet bags. That's at 12:15. First up, though, northern Manitoba's biggest city will be ringing in the new year with the closure of its only veterinary clinic. Local veterinarian Carrie Hudson-Rakedahl is closing the doors of North 55 Veterinary Services in Thompson at the end of December. She's been in Thompson for about 4 years, but is now moving back to her home in the Interlake. Once she's gone, her more than 5,000 patients will be without a vet. The CBC's Chelsea Kemp first asked her when she made the decision to move.
I let the city know probably 2 years ago that I was not planning to stay long term, that I wanted to leave to go back home to the Interlake. So the city of Thompson's known for at least 2 years, and my clients as well have known that Thompson is not home for me, and I want to go home. There's definitely been, I feel like, a delayed reaction. Everybody's worried when they come in for their appointments now. They're like, okay, what are we supposed to be doing? You know, what's going to happen? But I feel like nobody's worried enough. I mean, right now they don't have to travel to Winnipeg 8 hours. Right now they still can access care, so it doesn't become real until, you know, they phone and the clinic is closed, and then all of a sudden it's the middle of winter, it's -40, there's a blizzard, my dog is sick, and now I have to access vet care either in the PAW, who is already busy, they already have their clientele, they're already, you know, booking full. Swan River, same thing, they're booked full. Dauphin, same thing. So they have to head down to Winnipeg to one of the 24-hour emergency clinics, and they're busy too.
How many clients do you have right now?
Like active clients, we have about 5,000. And then, but the community is 13,000, surrounding is 60,000. on a daily basis we're having to turn people away because there's just only so many people that we can help with. Literally one veterinarian, no registered vet tech, so it's just me. So, you know, blood draws, ear exams, ear cleans, nail trims, like that is all me. So I can't just do vet stuff, I have to do everything. So that limits who we can see, what we can do, who we can help. Even on my days off, I'm, answering emails, answering questions. I've been stopped when I'm on a hike by people who, you know, have concerns about their pets. So to get a true day, I don't get a true day off because I'm still checking my cell phone, I'm checking emails, I'm answering questions from concerned clients even when I'm not there. So
I know you've tried to bring in other vets, but it hasn't worked out. What do you think some of the issues have been?
I think for Thompson, I mean, to attract veterinarians and RVTs, I mean, it is a long ways north. There is lack of essential services or lack of enough services as well. The community doesn't have the best reputation in the province as far as crime rates. And, you know, I have seen that in the last few months. There's been, you know, vehicles that are driving crazy in town and hitting houses. And, you know, when you see high crime rate and when there's that concern, it's hard to attract people to come north. Finding somebody that the north is home would be a solution as long as they're willing to stay. A lot of veterinarians now are women with kids and stuff like that, other things. Plus, veterinarians now realize that work-life balance is important and that their job shouldn't be all-consuming. And in Thompson, that it can easily suck you into that just because there's so much need up there. I think the real solution is at least 2 vets for the area, whether that's locum vets that are rotating through, whether that's one vet that comes up and then gets spelled off by other people. Because right now for me, the last 4 years, basically I've put my life on hold to be up there. I mean, I play sports when I'm up there, I hike when I'm up there, but I'm away from my husband, I'm away from my family. So basically the things that I love to do, I haven't done for almost 4 years.
How worried are you for the future of vet care in the community right now?
I'm extremely worried for the community. I'm worried for the pets. I know what it was like when I first came up there, and they had only not had vet care for a very short time, but the amount of suffering that I saw, the amount of welfare issues that I saw, the amount of backlog that I had of patients that needed care. If there's nobody that comes for 6 months, it's going to be, honestly, it'll be, I hate to say it, but it'll be a disaster. Yeah. I think people don't realize until bad things start to happen, and I don't want that for anyone.
That was Carrie Hudson-Rakedahl. Kemp also spoke to Sarah Driediger, a chair of the Northern Pet Care, a nonprofit group that's been trying to recruit a new vet for Thompson, but with no success so far.
I have a high needs dog. He was diagnosed with hip dysplasia when he was 8 months old. And since then, he has also had some other long-term immune issues that also has involved me driving him down late at night to Winnipeg for emergency visits. So not having emergency care too has been challenging. There's been a few times where I've had to make the 8-hour drive because it's here or 8 hours away. So the emergency drives at least were in the summer. So thank goodness. But yes, driving the road in the winter is not fun. And I can't imagine having to do that after a day of work with no sleep and then a storm or something. And it's that or your pet's life. So yeah, we hope that we can get emergency care here eventually, but we'll need a lot of support for that.
How do you describe how Northern Pet Care is trying to address, the critical need for a vet?
Our relationship with Carrie, she had been looking for other vets to come help her, more locums to come up, more vet techs, but she's found that it's really hard to find vets that want to purchase their own clinic. A lot of vets now, because there's not enough vets anywhere, they can choose to go anywhere and just go to work, be a vet, come home, have those boundaries. They don't have to also run a business, which is a lot. And especially, being a vet, running the business, also taking the time to try and find more vets, more locums, more vet techs to help support. And so as Northern Pet Care, we're hoping we can alleviate some of that pressure off of a vet to make it more favorable to come here and work. Our goal is to essentially run as much of the business as we legally can, though a vet has to own the clinic and the services. They have to be the ones running that, but we can hire the front staff. We can hire maintenance. We can be the ones looking for more vets, more vet techs, locums, that kind of thing. So we're hoping as an organization, we can work with a vet to make that job more appealing, and maybe we can make a more long-term solution instead of just hoping a vet comes up and hoping they stay for a while, and then when they leave, what happens?
How concerned are you come January 1st?
I am quite terrified. I am quite nervous. We're all terrified of what it could be without having regular vet care.
Sarah Driediger, chair of Northern Pets Care, speaking with the CBC's Chelsea Kemp. Mayor Colleen Smook says the city is asking for help recruiting vets from all levels of government.
Your local news at your fingertips.
CBC News has a local news app made for your phone or tablet.
So don't waste time scrolling for the local stories you want. Just download the app to get the information that matters to you when it happens.
And how you want it.
Another way to get your local news. The CBC News app. Download it today.
You are listening to Radio Noon. It is 16 minutes after 12 o'clock. Coming up on our call-in today, winter is coming, although we're still above normal right now, and it's getting to be time to either hunker down or run away to a different climate. On the call-in, we want to know whether you're a snowbird, whether you're traveling, where you're going to and why, or if you're deciding to stay home, why are you deciding that? Maybe you're concerned about climate change. Maybe you're concerned about the changing government in the U.S. And we will be talking to Stephen Fine. He's a travel expert from snowbirdadvisor.ca. He will be our guest. So whether you're just a Manitoba winter enthusiast and want to stay home, or whether you're a snowbird and want to let us know your travel plans, call us at 204-780-0893. And in just a minute, we meet a collector of gilt thrones, purple velvet bags, and bottles of fancy booze made in Manitoba. Taking a look at the forecast today, in Winnipeg, cloudy with a chance of showers near noon, then a mix of sun and clouds and highs of 8. Cloudy and a bit foggy tonight and lows of 0. Tomorrow, mainly cloudy and highs of 6. Looking ahead to Friday, sunny and 9. And Saturday, showers and 6. Some temperatures for you right now in Dauphin at 6, Brandon also 6, Churchill 1, Gimli is 5 degrees, The Paw is +4, Thompson is 1, and in Winnipeg it's calm and 1 degree. Crown Royal whiskey is made in Manitoba and enjoyed all over the world. The purple velvet bags the bottles come in, or at least they did back in the day, were highly coveted, and the spirit now rakes in awards for excellence year after year. Manitoban Mark Andre is a Crown Royal enthusiast and a collector of those velvet bags and much, much more. We reached him near Gimli, which is where Crown Royal is distilled. Hello. Good afternoon, Mark.
Hey, how's it going?
Fine, thanks. So what got you started collecting Crown Royal memorabilia?
I guess at a young age, I was always a Crown Royal drinker, and I saw a promotional item in a store, the Crown Royal throne, the big fancy chair. And I always wanted one of those, and so I started to search for one, and after a few years, I did come across one. And I ended up buying it out of province, and that pretty much led me to start collecting a whole bunch of bottles and other promotional items.
Like what else have you got?
I have hockey gloves, Crown Royal mailbox, air hockey table, barbecue equipment, you name it, just a whole bunch of different random things Crown Royal has made.
And what's the throne like?
It's made out of wood and some sort of suede, purple suede on it. So it's I pretty much don't really want to sit on it. I have a protective case I built surround it so nobody could sit on it or anything like that.
And you mentioned that you started drinking rye whiskey when you were young, not too young, we hope. But
of course.
do you collect the actual whiskey?
Yes. I have labeled years from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and up, and then of course some of the specialized, limiteds and pretty much all the stuff that came out in the 90s and the 2000s. The apple, peach, black, all of the different types of tastes and everything like that.
So how is your collection displayed? Where is it and what does it look like?
It's in my basement, pretty much a man cave at this point. And, have all my promotional items and then a couple showcases for all the bottles and everything like that with lights and such. I pretty much have no more room at this.
But you're still collecting?
Yeah, still collecting.
Going to expand?
Yeah, in the near future, a bigger house is obviously in the near future.
Spoken like a true collector. So what's been your rarest find?
I guess I would have a few unopened, limited Crown Royal bottles and boxes from the 70s. They're nicknamed poker boxes. They have a king and queen on them. Those, I would say, those are pretty hard to get. I have a 10-year limited, which I'm pretty sure was only for Canadians to buy.
Is that a whiskey?
Yeah, they're all Crown Royal whiskey. It's pretty much when it pops up, you have to jump on it and buy it right away.
And how much is some of the memorabilia worth?
That differs. It's obviously always worth what someone's willing to pay. Mm-hmm. Of course, us collectors are the ones that usually pay up for it. Sometimes the thrones, the throne chairs could fetch a couple thousand. Some of the bottles, I would say the holy grail for the bottles would be the purple cap in the 50s. It's a normal Crown bottle with a purple cap on it, and those could fetch upwards to $7,000.
So what's your most exciting moment as a collector of Crown Royal stuff?
I would say when I met a gentleman locally, and I wasn't interested in collecting the bottles at all, just promotional items. And he didn't have any promotional items, so he thought he would meet up with me, show me the bottles he had, and we kind of agreed on a price. And I thought they looked cool and they were older, sort of thing, and I bought them. And the more people I've talked to, did more research, I decided to keep them, and then that kind of spiraled into just a collection full of bottles. So that kind of started me with the whole bottle thing.
And the older gentleman was getting out of his collection, I guess.
Yeah, I pretty much jumped on it, and he said there was other couple people wanting it. And it seems like Crown collectors, when the right thing comes up for sale or you talk to the right person, if you're missing a certain something, people really want it.
Right. Crown Royal is made just outside of Gimli. Do you have any relationship with them, or have you ever been on a tour or anything like that?
I'm not too far from there, so I'd really, really like a tour. I would say that's probably one of my goals.
Yeah, collect a tour. Put it in your memory banks, if not your basement. And just before I let you go, you mentioned you used to drink Crown Royal. Do you ever drink it anymore?
Oh, yeah, of course. I still do drink it, but of course some of my friends want me to open some of the older or the bottles, and that's off limits. It's pretty much just for display, because a lot of this stuff, as long as it's unopened, it will just keep going up in value.
Well, it sounds like a fantastic collection. Thanks for telling us about it.
Yeah, no problem.
Bye-bye. Marc-Andre is a collector of all things Crown Royal. He lives in Manitoba.
Manitoba's the kind of place that draws you in. Every day it's growing, it's changing. Just when you think you've got it figured out, though, there's something new to understand. I'm Marcy Marcusa, host of the CBC Daily Podcast. This is Manitoba. I've covered the news from the rail line in Churchill to the border in Emerson, and it's talking about the local stories that help us understand this place. That's what This Is Manitoba is all about. Find it on CBC Listen or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
You're listening to Radio Noon at 24 minutes after 12. Well, as you've been hearing, the boss is in town tonight. Bruce Springsteen will be playing his first ever Winnipeg show this evening at Canada Life Place. And this next song was a big hit for Bruce Springsteen, but it was actually written with another artist in mind. Springsteen composed Hungry Heart for iconic punk band The Ramones, but ended up keeping the song for himself instead. Here is Bruce Springsteen with Hungry Heart. That was Bruce Springsteen with Hungry Heart. Bet the Ramones were choked when he kept that one for himself. The boss plays tonight at Canada Life Place. It will be his first time playing here in Winnipeg.
There's more to community than location. It's about the spaces we share, physically and digitally, the points of view that divide or unite us. Gen Z, let's get to know each other. CBC's Communities in Focus is coming to RRC Polytech's Notre Dame campus November 18th to 29th. Live radio, live streaming, and your point of view. Let's talk. Visit cbc.ca/Manitoba/community for details.
Are there better ways for us to talk to each other? And could that help us build a better society? Novelist and poet Ian Williams wants to start a conversation about conversations. Hi, I'm Nala Ayed. Join me all next week as Ideas presents the 2024 CBC Massey Lectures, What I Mean to Say, Remaking Conversations in Our Time.
Ideas, weeknights at 8, 8:30 in Newfoundland, and on demand on CBC Listen.
You're listening to Radio Noon. It's 29 minutes after 12 o'clock. And coming up after the 12:30 news, we are talking travel in the time of Trump. Are you a snowbird planning to go away and maybe wondering if things are going to be better or worse for you under the Trump administration? Are you a traveler who's just thinking of going down south or maybe rethinking going down south? There's lots of other places to visit in the world. And of course, it has to be remembered that some places don't seem to be too crazy about tourists in general anymore. There's all these things to think about, our carbon footprints, getting away, all kinds of things, not to mention the cost. And what's flying being like for you lately? Give us a call, 204-780-0893, and let us know what your travel plans are this year, if any, or maybe you're staying home. Give me a call. The news is next.
This is CBC News. Good afternoon, I'm Josh Crabb in Winnipeg. At 12:30, it's mostly cloudy and 6 downtown. It's 9 in McCreary and -2 in Tadouli Lake. A little more than a year into his government, Premier Wab Kinew is adding 3 more cabinet ministers. He says it's to change up some portfolios and bring in new faces.
Beginning with the Honourable Satchinder Paul Mintu Sandhu, the Minister of Public Service Delivery.
Maple's MLA Mintu Sandhu was overwhelmed by the response to his appointment before taking his oath.
You're going to make me emotional. Then I have to cry. I, Satchinder Paul Sandhu, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful, bear true allegiance to His Majesty.
Other additions include Minister for Sport Culture, Heritage and Tourism, Nellie Kennedy, and the brand new Department of Innovation and New Technology, which will be led by the MLA for River Heights, Mike Moroz. Italy's president has told American billionaire Elon Musk to stay out of the country's affairs. The owner of X, SpaceX, and Tesla recently said Italian judges should be fired because they blocked a government anti-immigrant initiative. Megan Williams has more from Rome.
Italy's President Sergio Mattarella has issued a rare public rebuke to a social media post from Elon Musk. The billionaire owner of X and budding politician said Italian immigration judges, quote, need to go. Musk was taking aim at magistrates who questioned the legality of a controversial Italian program to send asylum seekers from so-called safe countries to offshore migrant camps in Albania before returning them to their home country. President Mattarella responded sharply, telling Musk, quote, Italy is a great democratic country that knows how to govern itself. Mattarella's statement comes after a series of verbal attacks against the judges by far-right Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. Italian judges ruled the migrants sent to Albania must be returned to Italy, citing an EU court ruling that migrants can only be sent back home if their country is safe for everyone. Megan Williams, CBC News, Rome.
And finally, Bruce Springsteen won't hit the stage in Winnipeg until 7:30 tonight, but his diehard fans have been lined up outside Canada Life Centre for their coveted spot. Between 50 and 60 people lined up to ensure their place in the pit in front of the stage. Graham Atkinson flew in from Brisbane, Australia, and is first in line.
The thing with Roll Call Line, it's a social event, so we meet new fans, and we meet fans that we have known for years, because it's the same fans for years who keep coming to these things, so you reunite with fans, and we're all cut from the same cloth, so we can all talk Bruce Springsteen endlessly, and we're not crazy.
This is the first time the boss has performed in Winnipeg. And that is the CBC News from Winnipeg. Your next local news is at 1:30.
Thank you very much, Josh.
You're welcome.
Riley Lachuk joins me in the studio now with late-breaking weather. How's it looking out there?
What do you want to talk about first? The sunshine or snow?
There's sunshine? There's snow?
Yeah, two of those things. Brandon already back to a mainly sunny sky this hour. As expected, some clearing happening through the afternoon. Winnipeg, we are literally right on the edge of this clearing. We're still to the east of us under this very thick deck of cloud that brought us a little bit of damp weather, some scattered showers this morning, and even the first official snow of the season at the airport. Ever so brief. obviously didn't stick around, but nonetheless, some snow reported early this morning at 4 o'clock this morning at the airport.
So the world as we know it still exists.
Yes.
Okay.
For Winnipeg, we are really right on the edge of this clearing. So even the eastern side of the city already seeing some spots of sunshine. I just looked outside, saw a little bit of sunshine here downtown. So we'll expect that clearing. I'd even say by 1 o'clock, we're into a mainly sunny sky here in Winnipeg. 1:30 at the latest. Still some snow and some light rain through northwestern Ontario. The line is kind of along the Trans-Canada Highway and north. So north of Kenora, north of Dryden, seeing most of this falling as snow right now. South into Fort Francis Rainy River, seeing this falling as a rain event to the tune of 2 to 5 millimeters, up to 10 in the Fort Francis area, not out of the question, but we are looking at a little bit of wet weather still yet to come into northwestern Ontario this afternoon. 6 in Winnipeg at the moment, 7 in Portage, 8 in Brandon, where we're seeing some of that sunshine already. The temperatures have really popped up. 6 in the Paw right now, 2 degrees in Thompson. So as mentioned, that clearing happens through the afternoon hours, even by 4:30 in the afternoon, mainly sunny in Winnipeg. A few clouds. I'm calling today a sun-cloud mix of the afternoon. Still a little bit of instability making its way through northwestern Ontario this afternoon, but by and large, Manitoba back to a mainly sunny sky thanks to high pressure south of the border. It's short-lived. We start sunny tomorrow, and then another area of low pressure moving in from Alberta and Saskatchewan moves across central Saskatchewan. Right now, most models are pushing this area of instability north into northern Manitoba. Can't rule out overnight Thursday into Friday a couple of stray showers here in the Red River Valley, but mainly this is an event for the Paw, Flin Flon, Thompson, looking at some snow overnight Thursday into the day on Friday. 7 degrees in Winnipeg. Maybe we can get to 8. It depends on how quickly we clear in the Red River Valley. 8 and 9 back to the west. Could even get to 10 in Melita this afternoon. 3, a mainly sunny sky in Thompson. Early tomorrow, watch for some fog patches in the morning. Then we're back to a mix of sun and clouds, 6 degrees in the afternoon. 8 for Friday. Santa Claus parade happening on the weekend. Looking at some afternoon showers rolling through on Saturday. So prepare for a bit of a wet parade through the afternoon into the evening hours. Chance we could see a few light flurries into early Sunday morning. Temperatures between Saturday and Sunday dropping down to the freezing mark overnight. And then Monday, we're back to 5 degrees and a mix of sun and clouds. And I will note, once we get into mid next week, our daytime highs pop below the freezing mark again. Back down to actual normal for this time of the year.
Actual normal.
Yeah, which by that point will be -2 for our daytime high. So
well, that's okay. Now that they've snuck in a little snow, we're all, we're getting softened up,
we're
ready
getting
for winter.
softened up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you, Riley.
You're welcome.
That's Riley Lachuk, weather specialist, and you can hear him this afternoon on Up to Speed or on CBC News at 6. You're listening to Radio Noon. It's 23 minutes before 1 o'clock. I'm Laurie Hoogstraten, and we want you to give us a call this afternoon because we're wondering, are you planning a winter vacation this year? Maybe you're a snowbird about to spread your tiny wings and fly away. We want to know where in the world you're planning or yearning to visit. And why? And we want to know what's affecting your plans, from climate change to U.S. politics to the cost of living here and abroad. Maybe you've decided flying is too carbon unfriendly for you anymore and you're choosing a different mode of travel or just plain staying home. Call us with your tips, your recommendations, your horror stories. Everybody's got those. We want to know. Our guest is travel expert Stephen Fine. He is president and managing editor of snowbirdadvisor.ca. Hello.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And we're hoping people will call with any questions or tips that they might have or that you might have for them. 204-780-0893, or you can text us at 204-588-7355. Now, Manitoba is, of course, a hotbed of snowbirds, what with our climate, even though it's been pretty nice so far. And I wonder if Canadians in general and Manitobans might be wondering if the new Trump administration could affect travel to the U.S. Have you heard, are there going to be any rule changes or attitude changes or anything that might affect snowbirds?
We have not heard anything, and we don't expect anything at this point in terms of snowbirds being able to go to the U.S. So there is nothing on the horizon that we're seeing.
And what about in 2016? Were there any concerns then? And maybe there weren't, and that's why there aren't now.
Well, there weren't any concerns there were no issues going across the border or traveling to the US at that time. And, if we're looking at Canadians who may be concerned about going, we did back in 2016, we did see some people who said that they were not going to go because they were unhappy with the incoming administration. But ultimately, those people were very small in number. We didn't see a big influx of people either staying home or going to different destinations for political reasons. Ultimately, once it got cold, people ended up going to the US.
That's right. And where are the most popular places now for people to spend the winter in the States? Canadians,
Well, Florida's number one. It always has been. Arizona's number two. Then you're looking at California, Texas, Hawaii, and South Carolina. Those are really the big six.
And when you say people tend to go, do most snowbirds buy a place? Do they rent a place? What's the sort of culture of snowbirding in the States?
Well, there are really three different options in terms of accommodations. There's a large number of snowbirds who own a second home in the US. A number of them will rent a condo or vacation rental or a home while they're down there. So you have vacation rentals, and then you have a contingency, about 10% of snowbirds who are RVers who will bring their RVs down for the winter and live in those.
Yeah. Give us a call with your travel plans, 204-780-0893, and tell us what you're thinking of in terms of travel this winter or what's holding you back from travel if there's anything. I wanted to ask you also about other destinations other than the U.S., because we hear abroad that, tourists aren't that welcome in some places.
Well, I mean, in terms of snowbirds, we do see a few international destinations that are actually growing in popularity and have been growing over the years. So outside the US, the number one destination for snowbirds would be Mexico. There's a large and growing number of snowbirds who go to Mexico for the winter. Beyond Mexico, Costa Rica has become very popular. Panama has become quite popular, and Spain and Portugal, southern Spain, southern Portugal over in Europe have become quite popular and are surprisingly affordable as well over the winter. So those are the big hot spots. We also see people going to the Caribbean, some other Central American countries, even as far away as Thailand and Australia for some snowbirds.
Well, that's quite the commute to go to Thailand.
Well,
or
if you're
Australia.
going for 3 or 4 months, it's not.
I
too
guess you
bad.
might
If
as
you're
well
going for a
go.
week or two.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I wonder too, when you mentioned Mexico, climate change and severe weather events seem to have changed the landscape a bit in some of these places. Has that affected snowbirds at all, or travelers in general, that the beaches aren't what they were, or have they kept up with it?
In some areas, usually there's an immediate aftermath when there's a natural disaster, and you'll see people maybe won't go there for that season, but they're pretty quick to recover in a lot of places in Mexico. A lot of popular snowbird destinations on the East Coast, Cancun and the Mayan Riviera, on the West Coast, Puerto Vallarta, and as well as other places through the country.
The other thing that I did mention in the intro is that traveling, I mean, if you're a snowbird, I guess a lot of people drive if you're going to the U.S. and so on, but otherwise a lot of people fly. And it seems that the experience of flying nowadays seems absolutely fraught, that whether you're going to get there on the plane that you booked or whether you're going to get stuck somewhere. Do you hear anything of that from your clients?
Well, we do hear that a little bit from people, but ultimately, one of the benefits of being a snowbird is you're going for a long period of time. So if you're going somewhere and your baggage gets lost or you have an issue and you're spending, several months in that destination, it's not the end of the world if your bag arrives a day or two late. So obviously nobody wants that to happen. It's a big inconvenience and it's stressful, but not as much of a disaster as someone who, let's say, is going somewhere for 3 days or a week and doesn't have their bag for a few days.
That's true. Yeah, well, let us know out there in Radioland, where are you going and why? Give us a call, 204-780-0893. We're talking with Stephen Fine. He is president and managing editor of snowbirdadvisor.ca. So, Stephen, what's your favorite destination?
Well, I like all the snowbird destinations, but I'm partial to Florida and to Mexico as well. I've spent some time in Puerto Vallarta, which I really enjoy, as well as over on the East Coast in Cancun. Florida's wonderful, both on the East Coast, the West Coast. Arizona is great. California is great as well. Obviously, the Palm Springs area. I'm going to be heading there this winter. So, there's no wrong answer. It's really about what your personal preferences are, what you're looking for, the type of climate, the type of activities, the terrain you're looking for. Are you looking for golf? Are you looking for dry heat? Are you looking for more humid destinations? Are you looking for something a little bit warmer, a little bit cooler? There's really something for everyone, and that's really why people need to do their research and check out the different destinations and see what their options are before they go.
Well, and lots of people do kind of look for things themselves. And one of the things that I wonder, do anything like last minute deals still exist, or is that a thing of the past? Because all the planes seem awfully full.
No, it's difficult to get last minute deals, and snowbirds usually plan well in advance because if they're renting a place, they're renting it for 3, 4, 5, or 6 months. And if you're renting for that long, then there's not a lot of inventory, a lot of availability. Some snowbirds will actually even rent their condo or their home for the next year while they're still down in the previous season. So someone who's down in April may already tie up their vacation rental for the next season.
Yeah.
So is there some availability? Potentially. Are you getting a deal? Probably not. And you're taking your chances the longer you wait, because in a lot of these destinations, the accommodations that you might be renting won't even be available.
Well, and just as a final question, I wanted to ask you, again, staying with the snowbirds, how can snowbirds protect themselves in terms of, as you say, some people own their places, some people rent them, the travel, you never know with illness, and weather and so on. Have the requirements for what you might need in terms of insurance changed, and how much insurance do you need to have a safe winter away?
Well, you absolutely should get travel insurance if you're going away for the winter. The costs can be astronomical. It could lead to financial disaster if you have a serious medical issue and you don't have travel insurance. So absolutely. There's really two different kinds of travel insurance you can get. One is travel medical and one is trip cancellation interruption. So on the travel medical side, we recommend that everybody get travel medical insurance, and you're going to need to go with someone, or you should consider someone who's a specialist with snowbirds, because once you're in that demographic, you're traveling for long periods of time. You may be traveling back and forth. You probably have some pre-existing medical conditions, and that can complicate the insurance and the coverage, and you really want to understand what you're covered for and what you're not covered for. So that's essential. And then on the trip cancellation interruption side, that would cover you for travel costs that you lose if you either need to cancel your trip or come home early. Again, if you're, obviously very important for snowbirds who are renting properties, because sometimes people are spending tens of thousands of dollars for the winter to rent a property. And if you have to cancel ahead of time or if you have to come home early, you're going to want to protect that investment.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Steve. It's been very informative. It's really been a pleasure to have you on Radio Noon.
Thanks for having me. My pleasure.
Bye-bye. That's our guest, Stephen Fine. He's a travel expert and president and managing editor of snowbirdadvisor.ca.
New this month on CBC Gem.
You're trending.
Fantastic.
You retweeted a white supremacist.
Retweeted a what? An author goes viral and is hit with a major plot twist. A son he never knew.
I'm on a quest to understand who I am and where I come from.
Now they're both on a journey to find themselves.
A beloved children's author getting to know his long-lost autistic son.
There could be a book in it.
Could be a documentary.
The heartwarming series, Austin. Watch free on CBC Gem.
You're listening to Radio Noon, and as colder and cloudier weather sets in, an online trend is taking off, and it's all about boosting happiness inside the home. Dopamine decor is buzzy right now, and here to break it down for us is Sarah Kirkpatrick. She's an interior designer and home stager.
Dopamine decor is decor in your home that makes you smile. It boosts your dopamine. It makes it a happy place for you to come home to. And a lot of people have heard of hygge before, which is the Danish hug, which is a little bit more limiting, and it's definitely more cultural. Plaids, candles, fireplace, kind of that cozy fall. This trend is a lot more broad. It can be bright and colorful. It can be moody. It's totally whatever makes you as an individual happy in your home. Gallery walls of your family in a living room, something as simple as that just you can look up at and see your most recent family photos. I'm a big traveler, so I try to bring things home, not necessarily souvenir type things, but my butter dish is from Peru, and I have a dish set from Japan, and things that while I've traveled, I've picked up on my way, and then those remind me of happy things when I'm back at home. And just decorating your house in a way on bookshelves, on, the front entry table. It's really just things that are important to you, whether they're, grandma's dishes. Bring them out. Don't just leave them packed away. And you do want to try to stick to a color scheme or a texture scheme, something that unifies things within a room. I'm a big proponent of having each room serve its own purpose and function. So just because you're but just because you're leaning more towards textural, moody neutrals in your living room, so it's cozy with the fireplace, your powder room even could have big florals and colorful towels. But there's so many ways to style and just layer items onto a bookshelf or onto your mantle. It just takes a little bit of finessing.
Well, dopamine decor. I've been practicing for years, but I just thought it was like tchotchke overload. But no, it's dopamine decor. That's very good to know. You're listening to Radio Noon. It is 10 minutes to 1 o'clock. Time for a tune here. Singer-songwriter Tennille Townes got a taste of fame at a young age. When she was just 9 years old, she was pulled on stage to sing a song at a Shania Twain concert. Fast forward 20 years, and Tennille is now a 4-time Canadian Country Music Award winner and has performed with the likes of Miranda Lambert and Little Big Town. Here's one of Tennille's latest singles. It's called As You Are.
Feel the weight of every brick you're laying down. You're locking doors and boarding windows. You're trying to shut me out again in self-defense, 'cause you're haunted by the echoes of all the pain from your past, every love that didn't last. Every time we get this close, I feel you pull back. So fire another arrow, I'm not gonna let go. I'll take you as you are, I'll take you as you are. I wanna see your shadows, the colors you don't let show. Take you as you are, take you as you are. You can trace it back to when you were a kid. It took a lot for you to say that. Not ready, you don't have to let me in. I'll still be here after the storms pass. So fire another arrow, I'm not gonna let go. I'll take you as you are, I'll take you as you are. I wanna see your shadow, colors you don't let show. I'll take you as you are, I'll take you as you are. see your shadows, the colors you don't let show. I'll take you as you are. I'll take you as you are. I'll take you as you are.
Out of Grand Prairie, Alberta, that was Tennille Towns with As You Are. Tennille is in Winnipeg tonight. You can check her out at the Burton Cummings Theatre at 8 p.m. Well, during his campaign, Donald Trump aggressively courted Gen Z and young millennial men. He appeared on podcasts, streams, and alongside influencers discussing everything from combat sports to cocaine use. A PR campaign which many have credited in part for his election victory. Hassan Piker is a political streamer on the American left. On today's episode of CBC's Front Burner podcast, he tells host Jamie Poisson why and how Trump worked to get young men on his side.
Who better to tap into than young men who are obviously feeling uncertain about the future of this country, and young men who have maybe felt increasingly more isolated and alienated in the post-COVID world, young men that most likely saw COVID as their most formative experience, the lockdowns, and maybe found a sense of community and shared purpose in a lot of these online spaces as a consequence of that. These people were too young to remember the Trump administration, or at least were not that interested in politics maybe back then. And for them, I mean, for the Trump campaign, it was a perfect place to draw support from. It was a gamble because these guys are not historically likely to go out and vote.
Right. The low propensity voters.
Yeah, they're low propensity voters and they normally don't vote. But Trump was able to go meet them where they're at and speak to them directly, or even better than that, speak to someone that they might even have a parasocial relationship with in a non-hostile, non-adversarial, quite positive manner. And I think that not only humanized them, but also it made him look personable. I've talked to a lot of the people that have actually interviewed him, even like Bradley Martin is my friend. He is a part of the Nelk Boys podcast. He has his own podcast as well. And I've known him for years. I've had him on my podcast. I've been on his podcast. So, I reached out to him and I was like, let's have a conversation about like why you supported Donald Trump. And a lot of the points that he put forward revolved around how personable Donald Trump was. And there was definitely a lot of downplaying of the most severe consequences of Trump's mass deportation policies, for example. Like people, when they find you charismatic, I think, as a political figure, they give you a lot of leeway.
That was streamer Hassan Piker on Front Burner. Listen to the full conversation wherever you get your podcasts. Now I'm joined by guest host Emily Brass in the studio. Hi, Emily.
Hello, Lori.
What's on the show today?
Well, what are we used to seeing around Winnipeg this time of year but hasn't shown up yet?
Snow?
You are right. I knew you would get it. The last recorded snowfall in our city was in April.
Wow.
That's going back a while.
It's going back.
So we're going to speak with a scientist who specializes in severe weather to find out what the heck is happening. That's going to be up first on the show. And then just after the 5 o'clock news, the NDP provincial government's shuffling its cabinet. There are some new portfolios, some are being divided up, and there are some new faces, new MLAs to join cabinet. Our CBC legislative reporter Ian Fraze is going to break it down for us in studio here later today so we can get a grip on what's going on.
That sounds very interesting. We heard on the news a new technology post coming up.
Yeah, there's like a few posts and some that are being divided into smaller portfolios and new assistants for the different cabinet members. So
that's why they call it a shuffle.
There you go.
Thanks, Emily.
Thank you.
You can hear Emily Brass on Up to Speed this afternoon between 3 and 6. Well, thanks very much for listening to Radio Noon, and my thanks to technician Marshall Hodgins, director Wendy Parker, and YouTube live stream guru Kevin Nipatebo. It's been a pleasure sitting in the host chair and chatting with you on and off the air. Looks like not a bad day as, well, I didn't want to tell Emily, but snowflakes were sighted at the airport, but there aren't many out there now. So enjoy the day. The sun is maybe coming out. It's pretty nice for November the 13th. Have a pleasant day. Bye-bye.